And in another major ruling this last week, the court upheld Obamacare. Ways and Means Committee Chairman Paul Ryan has been a consistent critic of the Affordable Care Act, and he joins us now from Janesville, Wisconsin. Mr. Ryan, is the president right? He says Obamacare is now the law of the land, and that's that.
I don't agree with that, John. I think this law is going to collapse under its own weight. I'm as motivated as ever before to repeal and replace this law, and that's what we're working on. What I really worry about, John, with this ruling is the grave injustice it does to the rule of law. I mean, so much for calling balls and strikes. I think Justice Roberts is now counting foul balls as home runs. And look, I think that they've done a great disservice to the country because they're rewriting laws at the bench. We have 3 constructionists on the court when we should have had 5. And so, yes, I'm very shocked at this ruling, but it does not deter us from actually delivering on what we really want, which is affordable care for everybody, and let people choose what they want to buy, and that's not what this law does.
But as a practical matter, you're going to work against it. What can you do now?
Well, as a practical matter, it means we need to win the 2016 election, and with a Republican president in 2017, replace this law with one that actually works, one that people actually like.
You know, I want to talk to you about what the replacement is going to be and read to you a line from Peter Sutterman, who is writing in Politico about the politics of health care. He writes, quote, "Republicans have already lost because when it comes to larger health policy goals, the party effectively doesn't have any beyond the repeal of Obamacare." Now, this author is not a fan of Obamacare. His argument is there's no real alternative and you couldn't, as Republicans, agree on one.
Well, I take issue with that narrative. Look, when we were debating Obamacare, Senator Tom Coburn, Richard Burr, and Congressman Devin Nunes and I had a very comprehensive alternative. There are a number of alternative Obamacare bills out there right now in Congress. So I just disagree with that notion. But to your point, I do believe that in 2016, we need to show the country what exactly we would replace this law with so that when we win the election in 2016, we have the ability to do it in 2017. So yes, that's what we're going to go with now, is go back to working on coming up with a comprehensive replacement bill, showing the country what that looks like, how we can fix this mess, and then implement the fix in 2017.
I know the 2016 candidates come to you and seek your counsel. Would you advise them then not just to say Obamacare bad, but to say here is A, B, C, and D what I would replace it with? Would that be your advice?
I'd say both. Yes, say I don't like this law because I don't think anybody running for president on our side of the aisle does, and say what they would replace it with. And that's a healthy thing. And you already have people running for president who have already put out replacement ideas and plans. I think we'll see more of those now. We were working on responding to King Burwell. Should the court stick with the Constitution and the rule of law as written? Since the ruling didn't go the right way from our perspective, I think we are now going to go work on a comprehensive replacement plan. And I think that's a healthy conversation that we're going to have in this country.
The president says he'd like to work with you on some areas of common ground in fixing the law. Any chance that's going to happen?
Look, I just don't think this law is fixable. It's born on such a fundamentally flawed premise. It makes people buy what the government only lets you buy. It's going to lead to massive consolidation, virtual monopolies of insurance companies, government-run corporations effectively. And it denies people choice. It gives the states no rights to craft markets for themselves that work for them. So I just think it's so fundamentally flawed. I think the law is going to collapse under its own weight. The rationing it will do to Medicare, the denial of choice, the double-digit increases in premiums we seem to see every year is something that I just don't think the country is going to stand for.
We'll switch from a position of disagreement with the president to one where you agreed with him. It looks like trade is going to go forward. What was the key to getting that passed, something both you and the president wanted?
Well, I think this is one of those glimmers of hope where we had some common ground on a bipartisan basis. And the reason this happened, the reason we had 191 Republicans in the House voting for it with 28 Democrats, is because we want American leadership. We realize that trade is what you need to have to increase jobs and economic opportunity, national security. But really, John, I think it was a question of if we do not do TPA, then we are on a bipartisan basis saying that the country is retreating from the world and we're going to let other countries write the global rule book on the global economy. And we don't want to do that. Now that we have TPA, America can be at the front of the line writing the rules of the global economy, which is in our interest. And I think that's what we got out of this.
All right, Congressman Paul Ryan, thanks so much for being with us.